Guys, doing great. Thanks for having me on. Congrats on another Husker win, getting to 5-1. Another resilient performance there in the fourth quarter. We'll talk about it, but yeah, excited to be back on with you guys.
It's weird. They're like showing you the whole kit and caboodle early, right? It's the fighting back against a good team and a loss. It's the fighting back against a average team at home and winning. It's the fighting back against what I don't know what kind of team Maryland's going to end up being, but
Hmm.
on the road and winning, their resolve is portable, man. And I told people like you can take resolve with you anywhere you go, man. It's not a bad thing to have.
Yeah, that's been a refreshing development here with Nebraska, especially third year with Matt Rule, and you're waiting to see them take that turn, turn the corner in close games, and they certainly are doing it this year. A lot of respect for what they've been able to pull off. Watching that last drive against Maryland, the two crazy throws that Rayola made, the off balance where he was like falling down and still completed it. Plays like that, I was thinking in my head, those used to happen to Nebraska, and you'd think, oh my gosh, here we go again. This is crazy. But now Nebraska's the one making the plays, so that's refreshing to see. And again, yeah, congrats on the 5-1 and some winnable games coming up. Let's keep it rolling.
Brett, let's stay in the Big Ten here for a second. Obviously, the headliner for me was Indiana with taking out Oregon in Autzen. That was, I don't know, for that one I was pretty shocked because in the last two games where Indiana had played opponents that were clearly superior talent wise, that's when it sort of fell apart for them and Curt Cignetti. How much did this tell you about, I guess, how much better Indiana is from last year to this year?
Yeah, it's a great point because against average teams and below average teams last year on their schedule, they dominated. But once they went up against a blue chipper like Ohio State and Notre Dame, they got humbled. So this was taking it to a new level. This was really one of the final stages of one of the best program rebuilds I've ever seen. I mean, think of Indiana long term, probably the losingest program in Power Four out there. Definitely in lowest percentage and lowest number of wins. I mean, they struggled for most of our lifetimes, so to see them within a year, this wasn't a 10-year rebuild. This was within a year. He had them in the playoff. And now the second team, they look like one of the best in the country. I thought great coaching, timely defense to pick off Dante Moore twice in the fourth quarter. And they overcame a pick six in that game, too. It would have been a 17-point difference in this game. So really dominant performance. And I look at them now as a national title contender. And you got to start to think of him as one of the best program rebuilders of all time, along with the Bill Snyder, Kansas State, maybe Barry Alvarez, Wisconsin, what he took over there. So it's heading into all time territory.
Leach at Texas Tech?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in that category. Because you got to look at the context of what he took over. This is Indiana. This is, for 100 years, the punching bag of the Big Ten. And immediate, too. The thing that shocks me the most is how quick, because historically, when you talk about coaching changes, you think, okay, second year bonus, maybe a third or fourth year. I mean, right away. And this was without the five-star recruits and cycles of recruiting like that. He coached them up right away. He found his guys and he coached them up.
Hey, let me ask you something, Brett, because you and I walked through this. This was a couple of weeks ago, and we went through the top teams, and I said, right now, I would probably say Oregon. I just wish I knew a little bit more about their defense because I didn't love Penn State's offense. I didn't love Oregon's like their tests, right? Ohio State, I said, oh, I love the defense. I think it's elite. We'll see if they can figure out how to score enough points. I didn't really mention um, Indiana. I talked about Alabama offensively. Will they get more stops defensively? And who else was in that discussion?
Alabama, Oregon.
A couple weeks ago.
So I say all that to say, oh, Miami. I said they were the
Yes.
most complete.
Yeah.
Okay. So Brett, so so now I'm going to swap out Indiana for Oregon. There's still Ohio State. There's still Miami, and I forgot who I just said.
Miami, Ohio,
Alabama.
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 Is Alabama in that discussion? And who's the most complete team for you right now?
I want to get Texas Tech into that discussion. I think
Okay.
what they're doing is
I didn't know
unbelievable
if
down
you'd
there.
like their schedule.
Yeah, and the thing is, the schedule isn't as strong as some of these other. I mean, they don't have any major ranked wins. Although the Utah win certainly is appreciating in value. I think Utah is one of the best top 20 teams.
Yeah, they
in the
answered the
country.
dinner bell too, didn't they?
Yeah, they came up huge late Saturday night. So, and yeah, people talk about how Sam Levitt was out. Well, Sam Levitt doesn't play defense, and they put up 42 points on the Arizona State defense. But what I'll say, yeah, so Texas Tech, they have the win over Utah. That's certainly a signature win, especially in blowout fashion. But they're dominating everybody. I mean, I know its strength of schedule isn't quite there, but the way that they're dominating the schedule, all 6 wins by 20 plus points, all 6 wins by plus 200 in yardage. The per play numbers are impressive. Just a really complete team. So I want them in that top 5 with Ohio State and Miami and Bama. And Texas A&M. I think that's where I would go right now.
So we're A&M below.
Oh, Indiana. I keep forgetting. Get Indiana in there. They deserve it. They went
okay,
out
so
and earned
that's
it.
a legit 6.
That's 6 then.
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you like A&M.
I really do. They look complete to me. Marcel Reed, that was a question coming into 2025, but he looks like Dennis Dixon out there. That's who he reminds me of, and he's really getting it done. He's got great running backs, 3 different ones scored Saturday, and then 2 great receivers that they brought from the portal with Craver and Concepcion. You got a Mike Elko defense. You got a big offensive line. All 5 starters back from last year from a good unit. So I think they're playing really good football. And I have them projected into the playoff right now.
So when you see Texas Tech and what they've been doing, I'm glad you brought them up because I was really, really big on Utah. I still am. But I look at that and I go, okay, I saw that Texas Tech Utah game. And at the time I go, that tells me more about Utah. Does it now look to you like, hey, Utah's actually really good and Texas Tech just beat the hell out of them?
Yeah, that's what it's like to me as well. I think those are the 2 best teams in the Big 12. And then you saw one of them really pull away in the 4th quarter. Now, I will say about that game, it looks like a blowout on paper. And certainly, I mean, they deserved it in the 4th quarter. But that was 13-10 heading into the 4th. It was really a 50-50 game. Both defenses were really timely in that one. I think they had like 6 combined turnovers. Texas Tech did pull away with their backup quarterback in the 4th. So credit them. But yeah, I think that's your 2 best teams. I think you'll see that proven out Saturday when Utah plays BYU. I know that BYU enters undefeated and Utah does have the loss, but I still think Utah's the better team. So that might have been your top 2 teams in the conference, and one of them beat the other by 21 points. So yeah, I'm really impressed with Texas Tech.
Brett, what do I do with Southern Cal?
Well, they earned a lot of trust back Saturday. Now, I was high on them in the preseason. I came in, had them 4th in the Big Ten, and 4th in the Big Ten would say that you're a fringe playoff team, top 15 caliber unit there. And when they lost to Illinois, they got out physical. I thought Illinois just kind of ran right at the center of that defense, and they couldn't stop them. So I was skeptical heading into Michigan, who I thought was like a better version of Illinois offensively, or just overall, just the same composition of a team. And they took it to them. They looked fast Saturday night. The offense gained 7 yards per play, which might not sound incredible, but that's the most that Michigan's given up in 4 years per play. So, yeah, really impressed with USC. And now you look ahead. If they can get past Notre Dame, they might end up 10-2. I think they'll probably split with Oregon and Notre Dame and go 10-2. That puts them into the playoff.
Offensively, Michigan's been vastly different between Biff and Sharon, and it can't be that linear, but
it certainly feels that way.
It looks that way, yeah.
I hate to even ask this because it's Michigan. Do they have an identity crisis, especially now that they maybe have found a couple of wideouts? Do you have to let Underwood cook?
Yeah, it's interesting with that because against Wisconsin, I saw Donovan McCulley really separate himself as a true number one receiver on the outside. He's 6'5", made a couple of huge catches. I think one was a touchdown. So I thought, okay, now Michigan has their pure number one on the outsides. They got Justice Haynes at running back. So I thought they were actually going to take a step forward against USC. Instead, they regressed. Yeah, and I don't know if it's as simple as that, but you look at their 2 performances under Biff, and they're probably their 2 best games of the year. You think it'd be the other way around when you have an interim without your normal guy in there, but it's
and you may make the case it's the best Underwood's looked. I mean, he threw for over 2 and some change, the 2 touchdowns. He threw the errant pick, but you may make the case it's the best 2 games that Underwood has played.
So they need to go back to what worked on those 2 weeks.
And now you're without Haynes, maybe.
Yep. Potential injury there. And I saw Sharon Moore was, he's wearing a blue collar jacket at their press conference. It looks a little gimmicky to me. I don't know what's going on over there. We'll see. We'll see if he's got him motivated, but it just doesn't seem like it's moving in the right direction for Michigan.
Bro, what'd you make out of that Texas-Oklahoma game? Obviously, the rankings and where they are right now is a little bit deceiving as to who the two football teams are. But were you surprised that Oklahoma wasn't able to get anything going offensively against Texas?
Well, I think we talked about it coming in. We knew it was two of the best defenses in the country, and we knew that with Texas, you had a struggling pass game with Arch Manning coming in, and you had a injury concern with John Mateer. So we were saying low, low, low with the points, and it did end up pretty low. But I think Mateer, it's one of these things. He's a gunslinger. You live and die by that, and this time 3 picks, including the one in the red zone. Right, I think it was in the end zone at the end of the first half. That was crucial because right there it's 6-3. And you have the ball last year. I think you're going to get the ball to start the second half, and you want to convert that to points, whether it's 3 or especially a touchdown. Get up big. Instead, he throws that pick. That took points off the board in a really low-scoring game. Then the special teams punt return broke it open. But I think you saw two of the best defenses in the country. And Mateer, I don't know if it was because of the rushed timeline or if that's just his playing style. I think it's a little bit of both. That he's, like I said, a gunslinger, going to take some chances. But, credit Texas. They got up off the mat. They really needed that win, especially after the Florida loss.
So let me go back to the Big Ten, Brett. What's kind of your pecking order, given what's happened with – and maybe Oregon is just a blip, lost to a good team. But, boy, how Penn State has played since then gives me a little bit of the ick with Oregon. How do you slot what's going on in the Big Ten in the top 4?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think you have Ohio State as my number 1 and Indiana as my number 2, and I feel pretty strong with that. Those are the top 2 teams right now, both undefeated, both playing excellent football, both sides of the ball. So from there, yeah, I mean, you could argue USC and Oregon for that 3rd spot. I mean, I put Oregon there right now, slightly power rated above USC. I've got Oregon 8th in the country, USC 10th in the country in my numbers. And they're gonna prove that out either way. They play each other, and they have some tests coming up. From there, yeah, I mean, look at Washington and Nebraska and maybe Michigan. I know that there's some head-to-head in there. Michigan did beat Nebraska, but they come in with a lower power rating right now. So that's my top pack right there. But yeah, Ohio State, Indiana at the top, and then Oregon, USC debate for 3rd. I think it's Oregon might be the more complete team. USC needs to improve their defense a bit more.
Brett, as you kind of look through that next section of teams after the top 4 in the Big Ten, is there anybody, because there's a lot of people kind of in that 2-1 range, is there anybody that you look at and say, hey, they could climb into that, or is it a pretty clear cut, hey, these are the 4 teams, maybe 3 of them make the playoff, and after that you've got this whole other middle class?
Yeah, it's a crowded field. I mean, this is just one of these super conferences. It's all the talent and all the great coaching. It's packed into here. I mean, looking at 2-1 teams, you got Oregon and USC, like I said, and then you got Washington, Nebraska, Michigan. You even look at Iowa. Illinois has 2 wins in the conference. I think they're a solid team. It's just so deep, guys. What I like so far, I really like Washington's offense. They're unbelievable to watch. Damon Williams, he put up a 400 passing yard, 100-yard rushing game.
They're getting 6 in Ann Arbor.
Oh, I love that one. That might be my favorite one on the whole board. So I can't believe that line. I have Washington favored straight up. And so Washington, I really like the offense. Defense is a little leaky at times. They're giving up some yards and points, so I want to see them improve there. But you got to love that offense. Nebraska, really resilient in fourth quarters, and they deserve a top 25 spot. Michigan, we talked about them already. And and Illinois as well. I mean, 2 losses, but to 2 really good teams, Ohio State and Indiana. So I might have avoided your question there. I'm just kind of rambling, but I think it's a really crowded field and just one of the deepest conferences.
A couple of tricky lines. One of them I know Ravi loves because it's the unranked versus ranked. The unranked team is favored. Walk me through Georgia Tech going to Duke. They're an underdog as the number 12 team in the country. Do you like Georgia Tech as a team?
Yeah, I definitely like Georgia Tech as a team. I think what Brent Key has done there is impressive. You got to remember they were coming off the the flexbone option era with Paul Johnson. They hire Jeff Collins, and it just absolutely tanks. And I mean, you guys at Nebraska know it. It is hard to move away from the option system. It takes a couple years and a couple recruiting cycles. One of the hardest rebuilds to pull off. So I know it was tough for Jeff Collins, but Brent Key is now the third coach in. He's really taken it to the next level. Built a great offensive line. That's his identity, a former Georgia Tech lineman himself. Haynes King, here's another reference for you. He reminds me of Colin Klein, the way he's shouldering all these carries and trucking guys at the goal line. And, yeah.
He gets linked to a lot of coaching jobs already.
Yeah, he's doing a nice job. But no, yeah, with Haynes King, I like it. They also had a second running back emerge with Hosley this week. So you got a 1-2 punch at running back. The thing is, when you look at their resume, yes, they're undefeated. They haven't been quite tested yet. You look at it, the Clemson win has lost some luster now. Wake Forest arguably should have beaten them. There was a controversy in that game. It was an overtime win. And then Colorado, I'll give them as a quality win. But, yeah, I mean, I kind of see why it's a tight spread. It's at Duke. I have Georgia Tech by 2 points. That's kind of similar to where it's at Vegas. So it makes sense.
Let me give you the other one because I still don't think people think they're very good. And I get it. They put up a valiant effort against Bama. But unless you're a fan, you probably looked at the end score and you didn't see the late cover and like, oh, Bama beat them by double digits. Vandy favored at home. Maybe that's the new Hornets' nest in the SEC. I just think this is a game LSU can ill afford to lose for the Brian Kelly era.
Oh, yeah, this would be a terrible, terrible loss for them. I know, yeah. Respect
it's only
Vandy
2.5 though. Fans, they don't care though. It's like it's very.
No, that'd be devastating for Brian Kelly. Yeah, I'll be honest. My numbers haven't really caught up with Vanderbilt yet. I'm watching them visually. I'm impressed. They're really a crisp team. They get it done both sides of the ball. And yeah, to your point, that score was misleading with Bama. That was a late score on like a fourth down carry to put it over the top, but really a one-score game with Alabama. If not for two Pavia red zone fumbles and a pick, that might have flipped the whole game. So. Yeah, I have LSU as a slight favorite here, and their defense is really strong. I think it's one of the best in the country. Blake Baker getting it done, but offensively they just look broken. They're really struggling. Last week they could have broken the game open against South Carolina. They fumbled twice at the goal line, so they need to figure it out quickly because Vanderbilt is not the old Vandy.
Brett, there are 3 top 20 matchups this weekend, all of which have a greater than touchdown spread. Which one of these is too big? Georgia 7.5 points against Ole Miss, Alabama 8.5 points against Tennessee, or where's my third one? Notre Dame 8.5 points against USC.
Ooh.
Which one of those?
I think I'll go Georgia. Ole Miss is too high. I think that both sides are going to have some success moving the ball. I know Ole Miss just barely escaped against Washington State as a 33-point favorite, but I don't want to make excuses for them. That is quite a look-ahead spot to Georgia coming in. So I think that they're better than they showed against Washington State. And Georgia, they're lucky to have survived the Tennessee game. I don't want to say lucky. They went out and earned it, but tight wins over Tennessee. And this game against Auburn really could have flipped. Really a game of inches, guys. That fumble at the goal line by Jackson Arnold puts that thing 17-0 Auburn at halftime. And instead, Georgia finds a way to claw back in and then take advantage. That they made their third downs and Auburn couldn't do it. So credit them. But I think that's more like a field goal spread, in my opinion. That should be like a 3 or 4 point game, not what is it at 7.5. So I'll go with that one.
Maybe this is the coach bump effect. Maybe it's just the fact that the way that Cignetti wants to play now, I think he can with his quarterback position. Penn State getting just 3 in a tough place to play in Iowa City. Not to mention, Iowa always plays them. Even when Penn State's better than Iowa,
right.
Iowa deals them fits in Iowa City. Were you surprised that it's just the key number?
I don't know what to make of this. It's when coaching change happens, when there's firings midseason, teams come out weird and different afterwards. I mean, a lot of times it's for the better. They play motivated for the interim. A lot of times they can catch their opponent off guard with like a scheme shift. We've seen it a couple times this year. UCLA off of their coach firing.
Although Neuheisel may be pretty good.
Yeah, he's looking like an offensive genius, but they came out, they surprised after their coaching change. Same with Arkansas last week, where they came out of their bye week And after the coaching change, they surprised Tennessee with a lot of new stuff on defense and almost upset Tennessee in Knoxville. So I think you see a team just motivated differently, maybe a scheme shift coming out of the coaching change. But Iowa's for real too. I mean, they put up 37-0 on Wisconsin. They got it done running the ball all over them.
How about that offense?
I'm just going to say avoid this game because I don't know what to think of Penn State if they come out motivated, if they play to their talent level like the Penn State we all thought they should be. I don't know if there was locker room stuff. It's too many unknowns for me with this one, to be honest.
I saw 3. I was floored. It just didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, Iowa's so good at home.
I don't even. Yeah, it doesn't even sound right.
I've got a couple guys I know that played at Penn State, and when I ask them what's it like to play at some of these Big Ten stadiums, and you think they'd give you the Ohio State or the Michigan, the big ones, they all say Iowa is the hardest place they've played. They say that the section's right up against the opposing bench.
That student section
loud.
There.
Yeah, I mean they per person definitely when you adjust for that, but it is the hardest place to play in the Big Ten for their opinion. So yeah, it's going to be a tough spot for them, really.
Brett, let me ask you kind of a strange question here. If I had given you let's say I'd given you $100 and you had to place a bet on one of these two things in 2025. Would you have placed the bet on Vandy being a favorite against LSU basically ever, or Luke Fickell would have a job longer than James Franklin?
Oh my gosh. I mean, the second one is just insane. I just can't believe it. Yeah, I would have maybe had to gone for the Vandy thing. Maybe just think that maybe Nussmeier got injured or something crazy happened. Because the Franklin example, there was just no way I thought that would happen coming in. I had him winning the whole Big Ten. It's just it is insane how quickly things shift in 15 days. I mean, they took the lead in overtime against Oregon in the whiteout, and it was looking like they were going to be number one on this all-in playoff season for them. And then 15 days later, he's fired. So that was one of the. I mean, I know that it was kind of it was building for years with them, and it wasn't just about the 3 games, but still, just seeing that headline in the middle of October. This is a guy who's been there 12 years, really helped them post-sanction. I mean, you got to remember where they were 12 years ago as a program. So I was just stunned to see that happen. So I'll give you that one. That's crazy to me.
That's right there in your wheelhouse. You already mentioned a couple of your buddies that have played at PSU. What do you think? What do they think should happen? And what kind of a job is it, in your opinion?
Yeah, well, I think it's one of the premier jobs, and premier meaning like top 10, top 15 jobs in college football. I think you have a ton of fan support out here. You have virtually the whole state behind you. I know Pittsburgh is out here, but it's really a Penn State state. You have really you can dominate the whole region in recruiting. I mean, you have all of Pennsylvania, some of that Ohio, some of that DMV, a lot of that DMV. They've had a lot of success recruiting Virginia. So I think it's a really premier job now, especially in this Big Ten big money era. I mean, all that money coming in, and they have a big alumni network, a lot of CEOs in the region that are going to donate back to Penn State. So I think it's a strong job. Now, talking to some guys around here, they all want Cignetti. It seems like one by one they reply back with Cignetti. I don't know if that's the timing of it being 24 hours after the Oregon win, or if that was really thought out. But I think Cignetti is their number one pick. There were some references for Rule, and I think that's more just the connection thing. Thinking of a Penn State alumni, Pennsylvanian, a native from the state, and then seeing his success at Nebraska. So those are the two that kept coming up. But I think Cignetti was the preferred choice, just from word of mouth and from guys not included with the program.
Let me throw a couple out. You think Pat Fitzgerald gets hired again this coaching cycle?
I think somebody should take a shot on him, especially now. I'm not fully caught up on the legal case, but my quick understanding was that he was exonerated. I think.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, if he was exonerated, then yeah, hire him back. What he did at Northwestern was unbelievable. Talking about program rebuilds, I mean that's got to be up there. So yeah, somebody should hire him. I don't know if it's going to be a big profile name like Penn State, but somebody should grab him.
I'll get you out on this, at least for me, coaching wise. Compared to Penn State, because they give me similar vibes, and don't be mad because I know Penn State's won a championship, but the expectation level, given the degree of difficulty of job, is what I'm talking about. If you're Mike Elko, would you leave A&M for Penn State?
Well, you never know a guy's personal preferences and personal dreams. I know he's from this region. He's from the Northeast, so I don't know if that's important to him. But I mean, he's at also one of the premier jobs, at least money wise. You look at the resources that A&M has. They're in the SEC, which is a double-edged sword. I mean, it's the most competitive. You want to be competing with the best of the best, but it's also the highest pressure. Now, the Big Ten's right there, talking best of the best. So I don't know. These coaching things are so hard to call. I have no idea what his personal preferences are if he wants to get back up here to the Northeast. But the way he's got A&M rolling, I think you want to see that out. That's just my opinion.
Brett, real quick, I'll let you out here on this. Just did you think it was the right move to fire Franklin right now?
I don't think so. And again, not a Penn Stater, but being from the area and just being a college football, writer, I think it's a guy you deserve to give until the end of the year if you're going to move away from him. He's done so much for Penn State the last 12 years. They were in a really rough spot after the sanctions, after the scandal. Bill O'Brien was also key in that, but Franklin really took it to the next level. He had that 2016 conference championship run, was some of the best all-time moments in their program history. And then had them close in 17, had them as consistent winners, really just a consistent top 10 program in the last 5 years. So I don't know. After just two big upsets, I know that it was in a row. The consecutive nature maybe factored in, but I think you give a guy like that till the end of the year. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I know I'm not naive. I think we're in a new era now with college coaching and contracts and big money. So this might be the start of the new norm. I'm just more traditional. I think you give the guy till the end of the season, let him coach it out, have one final big game to honor him, and then move on. But I'm old fashioned, I guess.
It's Brett Ciancia, Pick Six Previews. Brett, appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, B.